Yes, otherwise, we got in with the Marvels. It follows Captain Marvel, sort of the sequel to her 2019 movie. And this time she incorporated it with Monica Rambeau from WandaVision and Kamala Khan from Ms. Marvel. And so bringing them all together to create a really good, like almost like it's like a teen movie. Buddy teen cop movie set in space. It was also the shortest Marvel movie at 1 hour 45
which
minutes.
is actually refreshing.
It was.
It was an hour. It was just an hour.
An hour 30.
45.
Yeah.
Hour 45.
Oh.
45.
And so it's like you could tell some stuff was probably cut. Like we were saying the gist of it. So for example, the villain was played by Zhao Ashton, who was the fiance of Tom Hiddleston.
She did the thing.
She did the thing. She said Neil.
Yeah.
And we looked at each other. It's like, she said the thing.
She said the thing.
But it's like she wasn't. Her villain wasn't too memorable, unfortunately.
It's one of those ones where I think they went the route of like Killmonger. It's like had a justified means to a degree.
A decent motive.
But I think you're having to build up how do I say this? The lore, kind of the emotional pathos and kind of why you want to root for her and whatnot. Like that was never going to happen, because I think if I was a betting woman in all of this and the hurdles that the producers and the writers would have had to overcome because of this double standards that we have in relation to female-driven female-driven characters.
Yes.
It's like you're having to just focus on the main three as opposed to the villain.
Yes.
I'm just spinning some bars and thoughts right now on that,
yes.
and I think that tracks.
And it's just on top of that as well, this standard that's absolutely driven on top of this movie, that they're just like immediately bombing it. And especially that they're all trying to, especially straight white male critics are trying to bomb it in the sense that because it is female driven that it's not good. And it's like, get out of here.
Get the fuck out of here. I'm sorry, we're not supposed to swear, but honestly, build a bridge. Get over it.
Because we've been accepting more diverse stories since like Black Panther. Like, come on. Yes.
What was her name again? The young
Kamala Khan?
Kamala Khan.
Or the actress?
Yeah, the actress. She is
Iman Vellani.
She is a breath of fresh air as well.
Yeah, have you seen her interviews?
No, I have not yet. I've not gone into that rabbit hole. But even the characterization, I'll be honest, I have not seen her TV show yet either. But the first bit that I did see was like, oh wow, this is cool, this is edgy and whatnot. But it also, I think, all your mainstream white critics and whatnot, right? Sorry, that sounded really like anyway.
Just keep going.
Sorry, I'm getting caught up in my let's let it go, girl. Let's get him.
Let me at him.
Just because that's not your reality.
Because the story doesn't service you.
Just because
it doesn't revolve around you. Just from your perspective.
You can't see yourself in it. Doesn't mean that like it's automatically shit. Like all this, like the talk about family and like the how you're being proud of the heritage and just the interweaving of jokes in between about typical I believe Pakistani.
She's Pakistan, yeah.
Yeah. Like it's beautiful. It's wonderful.
Like,
and it's like, it's just something different. In the age of everyone talking about like, oh, superhero movies, it's just every single superhero movie, you know, like it's just make some room, make some space.
Exactly.
Don't talk shit on something that is just different.
Yes.
I mean, I say that in the midst of superheroes, but you know what I mean?
Especially because we have to point out that most of the time, like these straight white male critics, is that they can't empathize. Well, meanwhile, all of the minorities have dealt with the majority of straight white male stories.
Yep.
And we can still find a way to connect with them. We can still find a way to be like, oh, wow, I relate to that too.
single dad that's struggling with his daughter and the responsibility of superpowers, or like, rich doctor who is so brilliant at everything he does, but
Until an
can't
accident,
but until an
yeah.
accident that like takes away the love of his life, and
That's
all of a
emotional, man.
sudden like, he realized what he lost. Boo fucking who. I'm so
Exactly.
annoyed.
Exactly. This is why we had to talk about it. Because honestly, go watch it for yourself. Go form your own opinion.
There's some weird bits,
It gets
right?
a bit wacky. It gets a bit wacky at some point times, but I think it's because it's really embracing the comic book nature of it.
Anything that happens in space, I think that's the formula that Marvel is going for. Anything that happens in space needs to be fantastical, wacky, because we're used to it because of Guardians.
Oh yes,
That's what I think they're going
Guardians set
with.
the precedent.
If you like Guardians, if you like Guardians, I think you'd like the Marvels.
I think so too. I think so too. Definitely. And it's like it's a pretty solid sequel in terms of bringing her character back, because like, say what you will about Captain Marvel, like I know she hasn't, especially the way that people attacking Brie Larson especially.
Yeah,
she's
man.
an amazing actress, but
She's got range.
she absolutely has range, but it's like, look, she's had to work with what she has in some certain parts. So, for example, because she's being shoehorned in as the OP character. She's the overpowered one. Like,
Yeah.
She, the way she came in Avengers Endgame.
Yeah.
Like, she was literally just there to save Tony Stark, defeat the ship.
Yeah.
And
From the high bar already. Like, even the choice of minor spoilers, but using the first few minutes to rehash what actually happened in her original movie is a choice. And it's probably is a needed choice because of the time that's passed. But also, you know, in the greater piece of Marvel where they're having to contend with how do you build up the lore of these new characters that are supposed to take over from the OGs, and to build that next story forward, you gotta find ways to kind of, okay, so all of these secondaries that are now going to be the primaries, it's like, let's build them up, you know?
Especially because now with the added avenue of content, which is like the Disney Plus shows. I remember seeing an article, actually, an interview, that the director, Nia DaCosta, she made sure to like cover the fact that she was aware that there are probably gonna be people who didn't watch Ms. Marvel or didn't watch WandaVision, so they won't know much about like Monica and Kamala. So it's just trying to find a way to like provide them the through line,
have the baseline foundation 101, so it's not completely obtuse, which I think they did a great job of.
And how you mentioned as well that they basically had to recap what happened in the Captain Marvel 2019 movie because it's been that long.
Because, it's not only white, straight, male characters that have trauma.
Exactly.
Just saying.
Exactly.
You know?
And so, honestly, like, it's not as bad as people are saying. It's probably been one of the most enjoyable ones in a while. And in a way, it's like, it doesn't have to rely too heavy on connecting with other stuff in Marvel, so to speak. It's more so in this corner of, all right, we're bringing in all these, especially all these female heroes together. And spoiler alert as well, it's teasing Young Avengers.
Yes.
Was this light on like the effects?
No, I'd say it was
Same?
about the same amount. Everything looked
in space. It was solid. It was just a bit. I just remember there's a scene where they're in the sky. Where
You can tell they're falling, and
you can tell that she's on like a turnstile thing, and it's green screen.
You always
around
notice
her.
that.
Because you need
Yeah.
You're just like, okay, but
Effects, that's good.
but like, there was just
That's your input as well. Sorry, I'm gonna call it out. It's
That's
like,
it.
was
I
the
didn't watch it, so that is definitely my effect.
Well, because I feel like you said that last time as well. It's like this effects is okay. We'll be like, all right. Anyway, otherwise, it's been good. Because I think I mentioned this point as well quickly, that the Marvels, it did feel like it was going to be set up as like a scapegoat movie for Marvel because of what was happening with the strike. The actors couldn't talk about it. And Well, that's why people talking about this was the movie that got the lowest opening in MCU movie history.
Because you weren't able to build the hype. Their marketing campaign, started way early too.
Yes.
I remember as soon as the ads started coming, but not at the same frequency, I'm going to say.
Of certain other movies.
Of certain other movies. And there must have been like some sort of like timeline reshuffle. And because, we don't know what's going to happen. You only push back as long as you can.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. Because, even whatever the haters are going to be using the fact that it opened the lowest, but it's considered a fact this was the only Marvel movie released during the strike. Mm-hmm. And so it couldn't get as much advertising.
Yep.
And, well, literally, it's like, it was almost like people were saying like, oh, it sucks almost that the strike ended just after the Marvels premiere in LA.
Because, you see your boy Hiddles, like the strike ends next minute going on Jimmy Fallon.
They had to scramble to send Hiddleston, to send Brie Larson onto late night. Just be like, promote your project,
and
please.
this is the other piece, right? I'm going to call it the double standard of everything. Mm-hmm. If you've got your and another interesting piece of, I guess, where Marvel's going to now with how bankable movies are, right? If you've got somebody that is in high profile, extremely likable, you kind of don't need to do that much work, right, to promote the movie.
Yes.
Unfortunately, with Brie, like, she's having to carry the movie, being the biggest name.
Yes.
And
since she's become Captain Marvel, she's gotten a hate
There's just so much flak, right?
And
it just makes it so difficult. Like, you then start thinking, okay, who else could you cast? But then that goes besides the point as well, because you still want to have that good mix between merit, likability, and relatability with the character. So what can you do, right?
Exactly. And so otherwise, we might talk about this on a potential show coming up where there's been a lot of Marvel changes.
This is news for you, Kev. We're gonna take over the channel.
I'm already pitching online as well, where a lot of big Marvel changes have been happening. A lot of whispers about Fantastic Four casting, and so it's just where we're going ahead now, because this was the last Marvel movie for the year. Mm-hmm. And then, even though I said the other episode we're talking about Marvel, we technically do have one more Marvel show, which is What If? And they're releasing it in the lead up to Christmas, like each episode.
It's like going to be in Disney.
Yes, on Disney Plus. The second season of What If.
Because things are going to... What's the Black Adam line? It's like things are going to change in the
hierarchy. The hierarchy is going to change. Power hierarchy.
It genuinely is,
though. I mean, especially considering after Loki.
Very good.
Shout out to our boy holding the timelines together.
Literally, spoilers, but literally.
He's holding it down.
Literally.
We respect you.
Literally.
Yeah, otherwise, that's entertainment talk.